and Instagram at Aloore Radio. You can also subscribe on our YouTube page on Aloore Radio. Make sure you click on the notification bell so you know when we are live. This is Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State. Peace. Now, hear this. This is Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State. Peace. Now, hear this. This is Aloore Radio, the voice of Oyo State.
Welcome to yet another edition on Aloore Radio of Conversations on Aloore. And this morning we have a much anticipated guest who is already in the studio, but he is not alone, and he's no other person than the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Establishments. And in a moment you'll be hearing from him. My name is Taiwo Olaniyan, and I am also not alone in the studio. The studio engineer is here, as well as our cast and other crew members. Thank you very much for always joining us on Conversations on Aloore. You can follow us on every of our social media platform. If you are listening to us live, you can also watch us live on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. And now it is time, without further ado, let us hear from the man of the moment, the man that we have been waiting for, the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Establishment. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, the Honorable Commissioner is not alone. The Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Establishment is also here, Mrs. Oluyemisi Adebosuyi, as well as directors from the ministry, Mrs. Adejimi Olufolake, the Director of Manpower Department, Mrs. Adigbola Adebisi, the Director of Finance and Admin, Mrs. Okedun Stella, the Director of MSc/BSc, from Simeon Adebo, also here with us in the studio, as well as Mr. Omotosho Mojit, the Director of D&G, as well as Mr. Okunlawo Oyebade, the Director of Admin and Supplies. You're most welcome to the GSM studio. We are transmitting live from GSM studio at the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. The program is Conversations on Aloore Radio, and you're welcome once again. Your Honor, would like to hear from you at this time. We want you to give us a brief description of you, your academic background, your work experience, and other things.
Well, thank you sincerely for inviting me, and of course my ministry crew. My name is Otunba Siju Lawal, the Honorable Commissioner for Establishment and Training. I hail from Shaki East Local Government Area, Ifedapo, Atisbo, Shaki East Federal Constituency. After my elementary education, I attended the University of Ibadan for my first degree. Thereafter, I proceeded to the Obafemi Awolowo University, formerly known as the University of Ife, for my post-degree education. Then, having done that, while in service, I joined local government service in 1989. I worked as an administrative officer for some years. Thereafter, I rose, from career progression to secretary of the local government, to director of personnel, director of personnel management, and director of administration again in the local government service commission, where I later retired. Thereafter, I joined politics, where I am today, and I'm very happy to be the winning team of our able and iconic Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's so nice to hear your profile of about 60 years and a minute, I think, or more than 60 years.
Yeah.
You're a great officer.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Alhaji Siju Lawal, the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Estab, is here. And he would also be telling us other things about the ministry he is presently. Ministry of Establishment and Training. Your Honor, sir, you said you are now in politics since for like 2 years now. Or
oh, I joined active politics since.
Active.
All human being is a political animal. Even when one is in service, though you may not actually participate actively, at least you should be able to identify yourself as a political actor somewhere, one way or the other. But actively, I jumped politics after my retirement in year 2013.
In 2013,
yeah,
almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So being in politics for you, it is a matter of choice.
Yes, it's a matter of choice.
An interest, as it's
of course. Seen. You talk of intrinsic and extrinsic interest. When you talk of intrinsic interest, that is what actually comes from your innermost. The interest, genuine interest in is a kind of inborn tendency. So when it is extrinsic, maybe somebody puts you there, or you are goaded there, or whatever. So if it is intrinsic, automatically you are going to serve with all effort in you, with characteristics of efficiency and effectiveness. And that's exactly what I'm doing today, because it is intrinsic.
It is intrinsic and it is by nature.
Yeah.
So you'd have to do it. Okay, sir.
Thank
At the
you.
beginning of Governor Seyi Makinde's administration of Omitutu 1.0, which started in 2019, I know you're part of the administration from its inception.
Yeah.
Did you have a foresight of what this administration was going to achieve?
Let's approach it this way. You see, by 2019, when this administration came on board, it has a vision and mission. And the vision under Omitutu 1.0 is to actually ensure that it makes life much more abundant and bearable for people, at least for the masses. And this is what is actually on board since 2019 to date. You can see that he's taking people from poverty to prosperity. Our able governor has been emphasizing that he's much more interested in how to ensure that people swim out of poverty. There are a lot of poverty indices in the town. The economy dwindling, here and there. The economy is not all that good. The road, the everything, the agricultural input and what have you were not all that very good before he came into office. But as soon he identified all this, and he put all this one as his mission, Therefore, he continued to emphasize taking people from poverty to prosperity. And you agree with me in total that our able governor, our ingenious governor, our kind-hearted governor has been able to do that under Omitutu 1.0. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. From your portfolio as the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Establishment and Training, how well can we say that the government of 1.0 has been able to lift people from poverty, which is one of its core aim, to lift people from poverty to prosperity? So from your portfolio, please, can you speak on behalf of that, sir?
Well, since you answer, your question appears too generic, but notwithstanding, let me do it this way. When this administration first came into power in our ministry, there were a lot of challenges we met on ground. And what are those critical challenges? First and foremost, the staff morale was dampened, was tragically low. There was job insecurity here and there. There was disorganization, destruction of officers from one place to the other. Officers were posted to ministries that were of irrelevant to their discipline here and there. You see officers from the Ministry of Works taken to Broadcasting Corporation. Officers were taken from Broadcasting Corporation, BCOS, to Agric, and so on and so forth. Disjointedly, these were the challenges. Besides that, I said job insecurity. People were not happy. Before this administration came into power, I'm saying, people were not happy because of the fear of uncertainty. If you are on duty from Monday, you are not certain whether you lasted the Friday of that very week because of suspension, dismissal, callous dismissal for that matter. So those were the order of the day. There were no promotion. As at that time again, let me put it this way again, that virtually everything that has to do with staff welfare were embargoed. Virtually everything. Before the governor, this our current governor, before he came into office in 2019, staff recruitment, embargo, staff promotion, embargo, staff conversion, embargo, staff elevation, advancement, embargo, even for gratuity, pension, regular pension payment, I can say were equally embargo because it was not regular. Even the staff salary too, was zigzagly paid. But as soon as this kind-hearted administration came into power, having identified all this, and as part of his cardinal program of making people to swim out of poverty to prosperity, he immediately lifted embargo on all those callously, all those areas that were callously embargoed. So staff started to enjoy their promotion, their regular salary payment, the pensioners started enjoying their monthly pension just as at the time those inactive staff were receiving there. And that's why we now talk of GSM Day every 25th of every month. So beside that, conversion, you can see it. Beside that, you can see what the wonder this our ingenious governor performed in the history of this state. The peak of the service was grade level 16. Immediately he came into power, at least he made people to enjoy the benefit of rising from grade level 16 to grade level 17. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I'm hearing it for the first time that GSM Day is on the 25th of every month. Wow.
Are you not a staff? Are you not receiving a lot every 25th of every day?
I'm hearing that from you, sir.
Even this very month, we receive our alert on 28th of this month.
Wow.
I wouldn't know whether you receive yours.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I have another question for you as regards your portfolio again, sir. At the time you assumed office, can you tell us some of the set goals which you envisaged for the position that you are and how you've been able to actualize them in the space of time?
Well, thank you very much for that question. As far as this Ministry of Establishment and Training is concerned, Ministry of Establishment and Training is a core human management, called human resource management, that handles staff matters, policy formulation, policy concretization, policy implementation, and policy coordination. You see, that is the ministry. That's what we do. Therefore, if I want to break this one into specificities, we handle staff matters that has to do with promotion. Of course, we handle staff recruitment, particularly junior officers on grade level 1 to 6. We handle their promotion as well. We handle their confirmation as well. All this we have been able to do within the last 4 years in office. You will remember that as soon as this administration came into power, I said there were embargoed on staff promotion, recruitment, and so on and so forth. The moment His Excellency lifted embargo on those areas, we started doing the recruitment. The very first set of recruitment we did was the employment of environmental health officers. At least they were posted to Ministry of Environment over there. They were there enjoying their life there and contributing to the sanitary situation of Oyo State. Not only that, there were other recruitment this administration have been able to do under our profile, and even those officers that were employed either by TESCON, by the Civil Service Commission, there was what he called collaborative effort. Because one day all these officers will retire. Whatever they do, our ministry must have representative in their recruitment. They will participate in the interview, in the recruitment process, in their interview process. So we participated in that. Now, talking of other aspects of what we do in our ministry, for instance, we talk of pension and gratuity. Now, pension and gratuity is one of the crucial, very germane responsibility of our ministry, and we want to use this occasion again to thank His Excellency for deeming it fit to ensure that he wants to improve the life of our retired workers. Hitherto, before the inception of this administration, retired workers were not so kindly treated. I said earlier that their pension were not regularly paid, their gratuities were not regularly paid, and so on and so forth. But as soon as this administration came into power, he ensured that their pensions, monthly pensions, were paid as and when other workers were receiving theirs. We ensured that that is done. Then pension and gratuity. Let me tell you that this administration inherited backlog of unpaid gratuities from past administration. For instance, the whole state was owing about 55.9 billion that was inherited by this administration under by Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde. You can see that 55.9 billion, out of which our own ministry share was 23.5 billion. The local government staff pension board and SUBEB, their own share was about 25.6 billion. Then the tertiary institution and the likes, they have about 1.8 billion, making a total of about 55.9 billion. Now let me come home now, at least from our own, for instance. We've been able to pay about 7 billion from 23.5 billion we inherited. In totality throughout the state, this kind-hearted governor of Engineer Seyi Makinde has been able to pay nothing less than a whopping sum of 22 billion from out of the 55.9 billion inherited as backlog from previous administration. Mark you, because of the insinuation that when you are paying those that retire before your administration, what about those that retire under your own administration? Well, he said, well, as far as he's concerned, I trust my able governor. He said, well, as far as he's concerned, everybody is a citizen of Nigeria, but at least to encourage them so as not to dampen the morale of those that are just retiring, he decided to set aside certain amount for them. So those that retire under this administration, as from 2019 to date, we've been able to pay certain amount to them too. as far as gratuity and pensions are concerned. Now let's talk about the training too. When we talk of training, I do say that no administration exists in a state of inertia. Administration is dynamic, just like social being is dynamic. You have to move with time. In the early days, when people were recruited into the service, the secretary, for instance, were appointed with all this typewriter, and so on and so forth. These days, the order has changed. We now go computer. So, because of all this technological orientation, the kind-hearted governor now therefore said the embargo that was placed on training and retraining of staff should be lifted along with other embargoed services. So he lifted embargo on them. Then we started to train officers from junior, both junior and senior officers. And so far we've trained quite about 3,000 staffers within our own ministry. In totality, throughout the state, for instance, this kind-hearted governor has trained nothing less than 9,000 staff, undergoing various training that are relevant to their various discipline and, of course, their department. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think there is no stone that is unturned here, because as much as it's the ministry that encompasses all, every area is being monitored, and as well we are getting the feedback, which I really like, and which is the core aim of this program, Conversations on Aloore Radio. So you said administration is dynamic.
Of course.
Which makes the citizen expectant, because many of us now, we are expecting that what is actually in the agenda of Omitutu 2.0, because it's going to begin in earnest. We can't even wait for you to start.
By God's grace.
So, sir, what do you think we should expect as citizens and also as civil servants generally? What is in the agenda of Omitutu 2.0?
Well, thank you very much. Before I even go to that, because our ministry has one very important agency, and that's Adebo Star Development Center.
Okay.
The house is building there. The center that was created in the late 50s and renamed in 1974 as Adebo Staff Development Center, now has been active and much more active during the life of the present Engineer Seyi Makinde administration. And they train secretaries, assistant secretary for 6 months. The issue is that they train people for a long duration of about 6 months, 9-month courses, both in ethics management, both in storekeeping, both in record keeping, and so on and so forth. So in addition to what we have as under the manpower service. Now, all this now package under that were done under Omitutu 1.0, all these have now been rejuvenated under Omitutu 2.0, because Omitutu 2.0 has its key passion on as sustainable development. We want to take Omitutu 1.0 is taking people from poverty to prosperity. This time around, it will now be sustained. How do you now sustain all those factors, all those people you have been able to take from poverty to prosperity? Yes. How do you now sustain that prosperity? How do you now sustain them to make it continuous? Therefore, under Omitutu 2.0, our ministry will continue to ensure that the staff are paid their regular pension, those retirees are paid their regular pension and gratuity without delay. Mark that word, without delay. We just have to continue. And much more, in enthusiastic manner than as we used to do. Additionally, the staff promotion, definitely we have issued out circulars now for promotion, or those that were due for promotion for year 2021, ditto to convert those that will be converted from one cadre to the other. We are doing that. We have issued circular as far as that one is concerned. Then again, we ensure that under 0.20, we want to go digital. for the processing of our gratuity documents, because presently we were using analog in form of carrying file from one office to the other, and of course that wastes a lot of time, and in the process there are the loss of documents and so on and so forth. But this time around we want to ensure that we want to go digital and ensure that the moment you press your button on the computer, whatever the profile of any retiree are, definitely you do it within a tickling of the eyes, and then before they know it, as soon as money is available, fund is available, they are get paid. So it's not a matter of going writing paper and so on and so forth. Even the pensioner too do lose their something, their pension authorities too. But the moment we have all this digitalized, definitely we will waste less time, and then the record will be solid and consolidated. Besides that, our senior labor staff development center that have been approved under Omituntun 1.0, we will ensure that very soon it will come to it will wear a very decent, attractive look. Because as it is presently, the senior labor staff development center is wearing a Gantt look. You know what do I mean by a Gantt look? You can see ugly look. No, as if it's not it's suffering from malnutrition. It's wearing that is a bad. And the moment under this Omituntun 1.0, people who enter that labor staff development center say, are we in London?
Oh, wow. So
that is it. Now on our training too, under Omituntun 2.0, we are going to continue. And again, before I even leave pension and gratuity under Omituntun 2.0, we want to introduce a kind of pre-retirement plan. And we will ensure that that one comes into fruition under Omituntun 2.0. How will that one work? We discover under this 1.0 Omituntun that people that retire do encounter a lot of challenges as soon as they retire, and we therefore discover that what is the causal factor of these challenges. The causal factors are just not far-fetched. Inability for the retirees to plan ahead of their retirement. So we now want to ensure that before they retire, maybe before they exit the retirement, the service, maybe when they have 2-3 years left, we now train them on various field where they believe they can actually perform well after service. We will plan for them. They will tell all their area of interest, and then the government will train them along the line, so that by the time they retire, they will not even rely heavily on the pension, monthly pension, which of course are not even sufficient for them to sustain their big family, because most of them do even have a lot of commitment even after retirement. But because of this pre-retirement plan, we plan it along with their token retirement fee, pension, whatever. Then they will be able to sustain their life and create more wealth into the economy. And the economy, you can see, because of this sustainable issue we are talking about, the economy of the state will grow much more, will grow faster not in arithmetic progression this time, but in geometrical progression. Because when you go to market, you pay pensioner, will have a kind of multiplier effect on the economy of the state, which of course will transform into sustainable prosperity our governor is talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, your